So welcome to each of you to this most unusual event, a breakfast version of a 102-year-old tradition of the Chamber recognizing individuals and businesses in the community of Elmhurst. I'm Ken Bartels, Senior Vice President of the Community Bank of Elmhurst, and I'm very pleased to be your MC this morning. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and then an invocation by Rich Reichert, President and CEO of the Community Bank of Elmhurst. But first, a round of applause for our host, the Elmhurst American Legion. So right now, I'd ask you all to rise. I would ask that all members of the American Legion and military veterans in the room lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Let us bow our heads and unite our hearts in prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for bringing us together to celebrate the contributions this chamber makes to our community and to celebrate the service today's award winners have given selflessly. May their service inspire us all to serve and to stay mindful of the needs of others. We thank you for guiding our businesses to innovate and continue to deliver goods and services in these uncertain times while keeping our employees safe. We appreciate the spirit you have instilled in our fellow employees who continue to serve with a smile. Please continue to watch over our healthcare workers as they continue to fight this pandemic on the front lines, something most of them never dreamed could be a reality when they chose their profession. Please continue to comfort those families who have lost their loved ones to this virus. We ask you to watch over all of our first responders who continue to bravely serve each and every one of us, including those who might not always fully appreciate the personal sacrifices they make on our behalf. We are thankful for our military service members. Please keep them safe and provide comfort to their families. Please continue to watch over our veterans who have honorably served our country and guide us to support the needs of these men and women who answered the call to keep our nation safe. We are thankful for our friends who have gathered here today. May you continue to guide and encourage each of us to treat others with respect and kindness. Amen.
Thank you, Rich. The ups and downs of the pandemic have caused all of us in business, every business, to work through constantly changing circumstances. Currently, many businesses are facing serious and debilitating worker shortages. This is especially true in the restaurant, bar, and general retail areas. Customers are returning, but in some cases, products, services, and flexibility are lacking. Servers, cooks, clerks, front office personnel, specific cases in point. This has led to some frustration, both for businesses and customers alike. And the city noticed. So a few days ago, the city of Elmhurst launched an Elmhurst Loves Local, It's Cool to Be Kind campaign, directed at making all of us remember that the pandemic at every point has caused issues we had to overcome. And the ones right now are no different. Slow service, limited hours, small menu, rookie servers, low inventories. We all just need to understand that it's where we are right now. So be cool and be kind, just like this poster says. And in fact, if you want one of these, if you don't already have one and you want one, there'll be some available to you on your way out. Put it up in your business, and if you need more, I'm sure that can be handled as well. So Elmhurst loves local, and it's cool to be kind. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce our Elmhurst Chamber President and CEO for our State of the Elmhurst Chamber. He's led our chamber since 1999 with strong leadership and style, and this was clearly demonstrated during the pandemic with this simple fact. The Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry, unlike many chambers in DuPage County and elsewhere, never closed during the pandemic. It remained, absolutely. It remained a vital source of information about business and the pandemic and all the rules and the changes and that you can do this today but you can't tomorrow, all during the COVID-19 fight right up to the present moment. No small feat. So join me in appreciation as John Quigley provides our State of the Elmhurst Chamber report.
Thank you. I'm going to rat us out right from the start. We talked about all the supply and demand issues hitting the country locally, the employee issues. Bill Corbell, our long outgoing board chair, will be getting a gavel today that is actually Ken Bartel's gavel from several years ago because the gavel's on back order, as are many other items. So I figured I'd rat myself out on that before giving them the chance to do that. It's also kind of weird because normally I'd be doing this in January right after that fiscal year ended, and obviously we're 8 months past that. I did do a State of our Chamber address as part of a hybrid version of the State of our City address last January that was videotaped and aired on local cable TV, and it's on our website and all that. So this is similar to that, but with some adjustments to it. Quite simply, the coronavirus pandemic of 2020, I know we're coming up on 2022, ranks as the most challenging of times over my now 22-year tenure as ECCI's president and CEO and 3 decades of chamber service. More so than the Great Recession of 2007 to 2009, or even the 9/11 terrorist attacks of 2001, which will mark its 20th anniversary of remembrances this Saturday. And I would ask you right now just to take a moment of silence in honor of all those we lost, more than 3,000 that day. Thank you. And participate in whatever 9/11 ceremonies are going on Saturday or leading into Saturday. Speaking for both the Elmhurst Chamber and myself, we feel blessed to be relatively healthy when so many businesses and individuals have not survived this economic and medical crisis. ECCI has kept its doors open for business during regular office hours throughout the pandemic, and no full-time or part-time staff members were furloughed or fired. I am very proud of that. By comparison, some 25 local chambers within my West Suburban Chamber of Commerce Executives peer group, covering all of DuPage counties and communities in 4 adjacent counties, determined it necessary to cut staff and close their offices early in 2020, and many of them operated short on staff and with limited office hours well into 2021. Striving to comply with ever-changing federal, state, county, and city mandates, our chamber worked tirelessly and safely during the past 102nd year in our operation to help any and all Elmhurst businesses to both sustain operations financially and keep their workforce employed. Starting in March of 2020, when the troubling gravity of the virus first revealed itself, ECCI has advocated on our members' behalf to assure that federal, state, county, and city governmental agencies and elected officials understand the economic damage that COVID-19 and related public policy restrictions have inflicted on the Elmhurst business community, not just our members. And we have a number of elected officials in this room today who have been instrumental in helping the businesses, not just in Elmhurst, but in DuPage County and statewide. And I thank you. You know who you are. In the 13 months following its March 2020 development, ECCI's special Dine Out from Home website page marketed some 90 Elmhurst restaurants and bars which were open for business via walk-in takeout, curbside pickup, drive-through, and/or delivery options for patrons during the multiple bans on indoor dining. Not surprisingly, Dine Out from Home ranked as the #1 visited page among ECCI website users from across the Chicagoland area. During the last 10 months of 2020, our chamber waived annual and monthly dues payments for nearly 10% of our membership, which still fell by a heartbreaking 25%, well over the norm. Hired a month ago, Grace Bagnoli, our new Director of Member Services, is already building our numbers back up heading into this month's Chamber of Commerce Month activities. When a midsummer window of opportunity cracked open in the summer of 2020, our chamber was the only WSCCE member to resume in-person networking on a monthly basis, safely conducting outdoor membership breakfasts and business after hours for up to the maximum of 50 members throughout the third quarter of that year. And last September, networking on the Nines, our chamber's 72nd annual golf outing, became the first golf outing restaged at Sugar Creek Golf Course since the pandemic had started. This year's golf outing returns to Sugar Creek on September 23rd, and I encourage all of you to join in the fun if you haven't already signed up as a golfer, sponsor, or volunteer. Against all odds, but compliant in the face of mounting state-mandated restrictions, our chamber served as the organizing sponsor of last October's inaugural Nashville Songwriter Fundraiser, which netted more than $13,000 for the benefit of Elmhurst American Legion THB Post 187. And I'm proud to say a trio of Nashville country music stars will return to this room on October 16th. And again, I encourage you to purchase a ticket, become a sponsor, help us out on that event. The Legion can use your help, and we're moving forward with that event. I know a number of you were in the room for last year's event, and despite all the restrictions, we managed to pull it off, and it was a phenomenal night. Feel free to ask anybody in the room who went how good it was. You need to come this year. In the midst of the pandemic, our chamber collaborated with the city's Everyone Counts Elmhurst Committee to promote resident participation in the 2020 U.S. Census. As of October of 2020 deadline, 84.3% of Elmhurst households had self-responded, a higher rate than way back in 2010. As compared, the county rate was 80.8%, and the state rate was 71.4%. We're very proud of that. Aaron Jason from the city led that force. Aaron, congratulations on those great numbers. Mandated by the U.S. Constitution for every 10 years, the decennial census provides the federal government with population data used to appropriate some $700 billion annually in state, county, and local funding for public education, transportation, infrastructure, and healthcare programs. And here in Elmhurst, that's worth an estimated $180 per every resident. So it was important to have the max count in this last census. As a typical chamber, membership dues revenue covers the cost of staffing, but not much more. Aside from the subsequent loss of some $50,000 in membership dues in 2020, our chamber also endured non-dues revenue losses from the pandemic-caused cancellation of fundraising programs and special events, including the city's Explore Elmhurst Summer Trolley Program, our Salute to Spring Luncheon, the Pig Roast, and a handful of multi-chamber networking and educational events. Non-dues revenue is essential for a chamber to keep its financial head above water. While ineligible for federal Paycheck Protection Program funding in 2020, our chamber secured a forgivable $15,000 County of DuPage-funded Reinvest DuPage grant through Choose DuPage, and a forgivable $3,000 federal Economic Injury Disaster Loan Emergency Grant through the United States Small Business Administration. while also leveraging a 30-year EIDL low-interest loan through the SBA for $100,200. I'm happy to report, and I will next January at this event, I'm happy to report that we received 2 draws of Paycheck Protection Program funding in 2021, $39,750, $32,500. Both of those have already been forgiven. And I want to thank Community Bank of Elmhurst for its efforts in representing our chamber to the SBA and all the other businesses that they served. Please give Community Bank of Elmhurst a nice round of applause. And every bank that helped businesses get PPP funding. And we've actually been approved for an increase in our EIDL loan. We're increasing that loan by $200,400. And that loan increase was approved 3 months ago. We're still waiting for them to send us the money. And if I disappear shortly after they send us the money, I'm just on a short vacation. Don't even worry about it. December of 2020 also marked the successful culmination of a year-long process through which the ECCI Centennial Celebration NFP finally secured tax-exempt status with the Internal Revenue Service as a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. On your table is information regarding the NFP's Civic Hall of Fame Fund to develop an interactive, technology-based public memorial. And at the end of August, we actually did the initial purchase of all the software and hardware for that interactive memorial. They were having a price increase come September, and we wanted to beat them to the punch. We spent more than $15,000 of the money we had raised to buy that hardware and software. And until it has a permanent home, we're going to look around Elmhurst to see if we can have some temporary homes for people to see it, interact on it. They'll be able to click on it, see video, photos, bios on all of the Civic Hall of Fame inductees. And we're going to add 2 more today to that list. Finally, I would have preferred that it not take a worldwide healthcare pandemic and economic crisis to validate the indispensable role that our chamber plays within the Elmhurst community. While the governor and others might not have considered us essential, we knew we were essential. We were essential to our members, we were essential to the business community, and we were essential to our community at large. And that's why we stayed open and operating the entire time. It was the legendary University of Football coach Newt Rockne, not Animal House's John Blutarski, who is credited with coining the iconic American adage of, when the going gets tough. Let me try that again. When the going gets tough. All right, 3rd time's the charm. When the going gets tough. Thank you. I'm as frustrated as Belushi was in the movie when they didn't move. And I can assure you that when the going got tough in 2020, the Elmhurst Chamber never once stopped going. Thank you, and thank you for your consistent support.
Thank you, John. I would now ask that Bill Corbell, Chair of the Chamber 2020 Board, come forward. He has some remarks and also some acknowledgments and the presentation of the 2020 Chairman's Award. This is Bill Corbell.
Thank you all. It's an honor and a privilege to be in front of you today. My tenure of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce as chairman was a little different than most other chairpersons. 3 months after I became the chairman, the entire state shut down. So from March until December, which was the balance of my tenure, we scrambled a lot. We did a lot of soul searching, a lot of thinking, a lot of what can we do to A, as John just noted, keep the chamber open and provide the services and the support to the business community, and B, how can we assist the business community in them remaining open and vibrant and still able to manage their businesses through the pandemic. I'm proud to say that the chamber was able to do both. And although I had very little to do with it, I'm very proud of what happened in 2020. But going forward, as John pointed out during one of our Zoom calls that we all went to in 2020, I will herefore, or from this point forward, be known as COVID Corbell. So at this point, I'd like to, first of all, thank the Board of Directors for their support in 2020, and particularly my Executive Committee. Desiree Chen, who is now our current chairman, was vice chairman during my tenure, and I thank Desiree for her support. And next year, 2022, Ava Sanchez will be our new director, our new chairman of the board. So I want to thank Ava, congratulate her, and thank her for her support during my tenure in 2020, and also Ralph Paccianio and his work as treasurer of the board of directors of the chamber, in making sure that all the financials were in place. And as we went through the challenges of financials in 2020, Ralph played a key role in assisting John in making sure that the loans, the grants, the information got out to you guys, as well as the support we needed to stay in business. So at this point, I want to also congratulate and honor a chairman from 2019 who is now officially off the board of directors. No, he's not officially off the board of directors, but he's officially no longer in the director position, because he has left. He's left his chairmanship. He was past chair this year, and now he's moving on, but he's staying on the board. So, Kevin Cost, come forward. If you're here in the room, there you are. Kevin, congratulations on your tenure. And in recognition of your contribution and service. Thank you.
Get a picture here, Bill. What are we doing?
Thank you.
Way too much contact.
Way too much, that's right. No social distancing there. Go back to you? Or do I just continue? Whoops, there goes my phone. Better put that in my pocket. Okay, at this point now on the program, it's time for me to recognize, as the chairman, as the past chairman, the Outstanding Service Award for 2020. And I don't think there's any question or any doubt as to who that person should be and is. When the pandemic struck in 2020, one of the key issues and one of the key challenges for everyone was to decide what to do. A lot of folks, unfortunately, were reactive. They waited until things happened before they acted on things that could either help their business, save their business, grow their business. But John was very proactive. He moved very quickly. He understood the challenges that lied ahead. So as he pointed out in his message earlier, he moved quickly to get grants, to get loans, to make sure that the chamber, number one, stayed open so we could support the business community. That was his top priority. And of course, he moved quickly and was able to salvage not only the chamber, but also help salvage a lot of businesses that were struggling at the time. His second top priority was to support the business community. And he came up with a lot of ideas. He mentioned the menus at a glance that was on the chamber website that helped our customers and our people in our community know who was open, what hours they had, if they had curbside service, if they were doing delivery, what other services they provided or were providing. We were able to put that on the website and have an at your fingertips opportunity to find out what was happening in the community. Later on in the pandemic, as we got through last year and into this year, John came up with another idea called Give 'em the Business, where members of the board of directors would visit various local establishments, and we'd go there just to spend money and to spend some time and to have a conversation and to have dinner, and with the idea of helping to support our restaurant in our communities who were struggling. And so we wanted to make sure that they saw us, that we supported them, and that was something that was over and above what John's responsibility was, but he took it upon himself to say, you know what, let's go out and support our businesses and show them that not only we're doing it with words, but we're doing it with deeds. We're going out there and we're going to help them see us and hopefully give them confidence and give them the feeling that, you know what, we're all in this together. This is not something that I'm out here by myself, nobody cares, nobody's supporting me. And we're hoping, and I don't know, John, if you can relate to this, but his actions led to other folks saying, you know what, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to go out and start supporting the restaurants. I haven't been out supporting restaurants, not me personally, I'm saying people are saying, you know, I don't feel comfortable in going out. I don't feel comfortable going into a restaurant right now. Well, by John's leadership and saying, you know what, we're going to go out there and do this and let the public see us too. To give them some confidence, to give them some assurance that, you know what, it's okay to go out. It's okay, you'll be safe. The restaurants did a great job in terms of distancing, in terms of setting up their tables and outdoor dining and all the things that they did to try and keep their customers safe. And we wanted to assure them as well that, that we were in there with them and we were trying to support them too. So I think that without a doubt, had John not been as proactive, had he not been as forward-looking and forward-thinking as he was, the whole landscape could have changed in 2020. We could have lost many more businesses. The chamber, as John said, could have been closed. We could have lost staff. It could have been a whole different environment than what we have today. So it gives me great pleasure to honor John with the Chairman's Award for 2020 and the great job that he did. And I'd like all of you to give John Quigley a round of applause. Good.
You go.
Thank you, I'm done.
Let me just say I feel honored and privileged to receive this award. We normally don't want to keep it as in-house as this has been kept, but heck, I was the only one really working, so I guess I deserve it. What I can say about some of the things we did, I'll point out, Bill pointed out the Give Them the Business gatherings that I started doing on Thursday nights at different bars and restaurants throughout Elmhurst. The thing that makes me most proud about that, not just how our members supported that, but the fact that a half dozen of my peers in the West Suburban Chamber of Commerce executives group stole that idea, and they are still doing a version of that idea today. So that makes me very proud. I thank you for your support. This cannot be done without a great board and great members. I can tell you that for sure. Thank you.
I've wondered for many months who to blame for the state shutdown, and now I know it was Bill Corbell. I feel much better knowing that. We now would like to have Desiree Chen, the current chairman of the board, come forward. She has a gavel presentation long overdue to Bill Corbell, and as already mentioned, it's really not his gavel, but we'll give this one to him anyway. And also some remarks as she continues her term. Desiree Chen.
if you'd like to join me at the, at the lectern. There you go. It's my privilege to present to you the gavel, the ceremonial gavel, on behalf of all the members of the Elmhurst Chamber Board of Directors in honor of your great service in 2020. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll keep this and try not to break it.
Yeah, don't, be careful.
Thank you.
Read the inscription.
To Ken Bartel.
Ken Bartel. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning, everyone. And thank you again, Bill, for your work in 2020 as chairman of the board of directors. Your leadership was supportive, calm, and optimistic at a time when we really needed it. I'd like to continue with today's theme of how the pandemic screwed everything up. Because our gala is usually held in January, the current board chair, that's me, usually has served only a couple of months at that time. So the chair's remarks are typically forward-looking. They're all about, what she or he hopes to accomplish during her or his term. And now here we are in September, and I have only a few more months left to go. So part of me is tempted just to say, well done. We accomplished every single one of my very ambitious goals. So thank you and have a good day. But no, I won't do that, because I really would like to take this opportunity to tell you how proud I am to play just a small part in what I believe is the greatest strength of the Chamber. And that's the high level of commitment and engagement between the Chamber and its members. I'd like to thank you, Chamber members, who are here with us today, for sticking with us in the face of all the uncertainty of this past year and a half. I hope you'll encourage other businesses and organizations to join us and see our value for themselves. You can tell that the Chamber has worked hard to serve its members. You can tell them that the Chamber has worked hard to serve its members with the same level of commitment that it always has, while adapting to the constant disruptions and changes posed by the pandemic. The Chamber maintains steady, relevant, and informative communications with its members, sometimes posting articles and resources numerous times a day on the latest COVID guidance and restrictions and loan and grant opportunities at local, state, and federal levels. The Chamber also has been innovative, identifying the businesses that were especially vulnerable, such as restaurants and bars, and coming out with initiatives like Dine Out from Home and the Give Them the Business After Hours in April, as well as the virtual events, like the online State of Our City address. We also continue to advocate for our members and look out for their interests in deciding whether to join other chambers or interest groups in supporting state and federal legislation and programs. Civic engagement also continued, and funds were raised for the Civic Hall of Fame, the Public Memorial, the Second Century Fund, and the Ralph P. Pachanio Student Internship Endowment Fund at Elmhurst University. Then, when conditions were favorable again, the Chamber found ways for us to come together for as many of our traditional networking events as possible, including the after-hours, member breakfasts, and this gala. I'm pleased to say that the university hosted one of the first in-person Chamber member breakfasts in more than a year. So I'm very grateful to John, to Kim and Zarina, to Mariella when she was here, and now Grace, as well as my fellow board members for all the work so far that they've done in 2021. I'm looking forward to what we've got planned in the coming months, including our next gala, which I hope will be back on track in January. So thanks for joining us today and staying with us as members. Thank you and have a good rest of the day.
As John heads to the back of the room, now heads to the front of the room, I would like to have him come up, and we'll do the Ambassador of the Year award. So John and Betsy, if you want to come forward.
I'm not going to read the script. So, Ambassador of the Year. Ambassadors used to be best known as those green-coated people running around doing ribbon cuttings and anniversary celebrations and those kinds of things. And They still do all those kinds of things. We just try not to wear those really hot and ugly green jackets as much as we possibly can. Older ambassadors, or longer time ambassadors, understand the meaning of that one. But the ambassadors give up their time to go visit with new businesses. They do these ribbon cuttings. They do anniversary celebrations. There's no special payment or recognition for it other than they're part of a group of people in a photo, but the photo is about the business that we're celebrating. Betsy Donafrio, she actually started working for me as our Director of Member Services years ago and did a fabulous job. And as typical, those people who come work for me and do a good job, members tend to steal them away. It's a bad habit. Do not steal Grace away, okay? I just got her on board. But we understand that. When you hire good people, they're going to rise to the next level, and Betsy was able to do that. She did it for a couple businesses. She's now with Inland Bank, Inland Home Mortgage. She is one of those people for the ambassadors who have won this award. She's there every time she can be there. And by the way, it's not just the ribbon cuttings and the celebrations. It's coming to breakfast and after hours. It's coming to the special events. It's doing all you need to do to show you have a presence. So like at a breakfast or an after hours, if we have new people at the event, I go over to an ambassador and I say, we've got new people in the room. Please go by, say hi, offer to introduce them around the room, make them feel comfortable. And they do that. And people who come, people who are new members and come feel more comfortable and come more often, and people who are there as prospective members feel more involved, and they also end up joining our chamber from it. Betsy's commitment is second to none, especially during a time like 2021's. And so I ask you to congratulate with your applause our Ambassador of the Year for 2020, Betsy Donafrio. Betsy. You want to come over here first? Is your top reminiscent of an ambassador jacket?
Kind of, no.
Yeah, kind of.
No. I want to thank the Chamber for awarding this recognition to me. And it got me thinking about what it means to be an ambassador. And I first started thinking about the fact that I showed up in 2020 a lot with my mask and came to the ribbon cuttings. And I'm like, that's not really all of it. And then I started thinking about the fact that I used to work for the Chamber. And I'm like, no, that's not really all of it either. And, you know, the committees and things. And then I realized really what the ambassador is all about. And it's what John touched on. It's everything that you all have in this room. It's what John has, what Ken has, and what I have. And that's a sense of community. And so we all want to see the City of Elmhurst business community thrive. And I'm glad that I've been a part of it. So thank you again for this award.
So it's my honor to present the 2020 Civic Hall of Fame. The Elmhurst Civic Hall of Fame remains the most exclusive club in town. And this morning we add 2 names to the list and the first couple to receive this honor. Charity and Scott Algram have been leaders, volunteers, business developers, and citizens of distinction, both individually and collectively. So today, the Civic Hall of Fame gets a 2-for-1 benefit. Again, something that we've enjoyed for many years through the Algrams. Before the presentation, however, as we do once a year, here are the previous awardees. Joe Newton, Eleanor King Hookham, Dr. Ivan Frick, Joseph Wagner, Jean Hazelhorst, Robert Magnuson, Virginia Harmon, Lee Daniels, A.J. Tachi Taronis, William Gooch Jr., Willis Johnson with us today, Fred Messerschmidt, Jim Van Ewick, Jackie Haddad, Thomas Myers Jr., Abner Gannett, Jan Pauli, Bob Schiller, Tom Marcucci with us today, Rich Grotzky, Pete Kruger, Doug Beach, Betsy Hanisch with us today, Ralph Paccianio, Daryl Whistler, Ralph Paccianio with us today, sorry Ralph, Daryl Whistler, Jack Island with us today, Jeannie Urich with us today, and Bill Shanklin with us today. We have a round of applause for the previous awardees? So now I would ask Charity and Scott to join me up here at the podium. The plaque reads as follows: the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce and Industry Civic Hall of Fame, Scott and Charity Augram. Individually and together, a dynamic combination of compassion, service, caring, and belief in our community of Elmhurst. Presented at the Chamber's 102nd Annual Awards Gala, September 8, 2021.
Well, on behalf of Charity and myself, I'd like to say how honored and humbled we are in receiving this award. The city of Elmhurst is an amazing place. You have business organizations like the Chamber, Spring Road Business Association, York Villette Association, City Center. You've got service clubs like Rotary, Lions, Kiwanis, Jaycees, groups that give aid and support to residents of Elmhurst and the surrounding community like EWAN, the Elmhurst Walk-in Assistance Network, ECAF, the Elmhurst Yorkfield Food Pantry, United Community Concerns, Dan Gibbons Turkey Trot, to name just a couple. Our first responders, the police and fire departments of Elmhurst, the public works of Elmhurst, who are really second to none. We've got the medical professionals at Elmhurst Memorial Hospital and groups that promote and foster culture in our community, such as the Symphony, the Elmhurst Historical Society, Elmhurst Art Museum, Elmhurst Children's Theater, and the Center for Performing Arts. And that list doesn't even include things like the library, the Park District, schools, churches, youth sports teams, scouting programs, multi-generational businesses, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and of course, the world-famous Elmhurst Armpit Orchestra. Elmhurst is truly an amazing place because what other town of our size has both a symphony and an orchestra that they can call their own? But it's not all these groups and organizations that I've mentioned, and this certainly is not an exhaustive list, that makes Elmhurst such an amazing place. It's the hundreds of people that give of their time, their talents, and even their treasures to make Elmhurst the town that it is today. It's the thousands of volunteer hours that the residents and business people of Elmhurst donate to all these organizations that make Elmhurst great. And it's been our privilege over our combined 95 years in Elmhurst, that's right, of meeting, working, and volunteering with so many of these dedicated individuals, many of whom that are here this morning and that we have known not only professionally but personally for years, decades, and not to single anyone out, but just about my entire life here in Elmhurst. To all of you who have made our involvement in Elmhurst such a marvelous experience, we say thank you. And we've been truly blessed and enjoyed being able to work and be so involved with so many wonderful people. Thank you.
Okay, my turn. I would also like to specifically thank a number of people as well. The first thank you is to our elected officials, both past and present, for all that they do and give. And I know that there are several here in the audience. So thank you. Not everyone knows what that takes personally, professionally. I do, but thank you to all of our elected people. And then also to John Quigley, who is the chamber, is in capital letters. John Quigley is the chamber. Without him, where would the city of Elmhurst be? So when you said you were not considered an essential worker, big mistake, because we know for what you do and everything that you give. And now finally, to everyone here at the American Legion, someone had asked if we were going to be disappointed that it wasn't, the big fancy thing at the other place that I will not mention. And I said no. I said for Scott and I, the Legion is perfect. It's just perfect. We've had so many amazing Algram family parties here. It's awesome. And the job that everyone at the Legion here does, please remember to support the Legion. Come for lunch. Right, Finn? Come for lunch. Come be here, support the Legion, and most of all, support all of our veterans. We owe our veterans a debt that can never be repaid. So thank you to the veterans. Thank you to everyone here. That's it. Thank you.
One more time, Scott and Charity Algram. When they use the old expression, salt of the earth kind of people, they are salt of the earth. And you gotta love a funeral director who likes to race sports cars too. That's just a bonus, right? Just wanted to see him once do it with a hearse. So we're essentially at the end of our program, coming to the last award, which is the A.J. Tachi Taronis Business of the Year Award. We have an unusual situation this year. There was no doubt in our mind the business that would win the award in 2020, Elmhurst Hospital and Edward Elmhurst Health, for all that they did to serve our community and the DuPage County area to keep people safe and healthy, minimize those who lost their lives, treat people as well as they possibly could to return them to their loved ones when they did need hospitalization. All of us think we had a hard time during the pandemic. I couldn't have imagined working at the hospital and for a healthcare system during the pandemic. It just got to be mind-boggling. And again, in Elmhurst, people stepped up. They were sending food for the nurses and the staff. They were doing everything they could to keep their spirits up. So it was no doubt that Elmhurst Hospital was our Business of the Year, Edward Elmhurst Health as the Business of the Year as part of that. Unfortunately, in our latest Mask Up, as part of that, Edward Hospital and Edward Elmhurst Health also went completely vaccine. Most of their staff had been vaccinated, nurses, doctors, and others, but they have now mandated complete vaccines, complete masking, and they actually felt it slightly inappropriate for them to have a presence at this kind of public gathering. And I understood that completely and agreed with them. I still made them buy a table. It was the only fair thing to do. But this kind of combination also gave us a great opportunity. We have a traveling trophy, the A.J. Tachi Taronis Business of the Year trophy that's been traveling for 20-some years. And I wanted to replace that trophy before I left office with something a little bigger and a little grander. When it first was unveiled, it was a very stunning trophy, but as you might guess, over the course of 20 years and travel, a little wear and tear on it. And of course, I could not get the new one here in time. So the beauty is, we'll have the new one by January. And so if I can get it before that, the hospital will have like 3 months to display it, and then they'll have to bring it to the January event and hand it over to the next business of the year. Thank you, Elmhurst Hospital. But they went to extraordinary steps to make sure they wanted to say thank you. And if you would look over to our screen, we have a video we're going to show you.
Good morning. I am Pamela Dunley, and I am the president of Elmhurst Hospital, part of Edward Elmhurst Health. And I am honored and humbled to be here this morning to accept the award for the A.J. Tachi Taronis Business of the Year. I am very excited to be able to share with our hospital that this business community honored us through this last year. It has been a very difficult year, and we know that taking care of our community and providing a safe, seamless environment is the most important thing that we do. I know that the community has had a hard time this year, and we wanted to make sure that we supported our community by encouraging our staff that live in the community and our physicians to make sure that they buy locally. This award recognizes all of our heroes, the nurses and the physicians, and everyone who works in our environment, who kept this community safe and was here for you, no matter how scared they were. So thank you on behalf of Elmhurst Hospital and Edward Elmhurst Health. We are so proud to be a community hospital and to be part of this community and this business environment.
Would you give Elmhurst Hospital and Edward Elmhurst Health a nice round of applause as the A.J. Tachi Taronis Business of the Year for 2020. And I welcome back to the dais our Master of Ceremonies, Ken Bartels. Ken?
Well, thank you, John. That does conclude our program, and we thank you for being here. One last round of applause for all our awardees this morning. As you have heard several times, the plan is for this gala to return in January and celebrate 2021 awards. And we will hope that that is indeed possible, and we'll look for all of you again at that time. In the meantime, elmhursttv.com, as you can see in the corner, will carry this. So please tell folks who you know who might normally be here to watch it on Elmhurst TV. So please continue to network, and thank you for being here. Have a safe and productive day. Thank you.